Luke Kuechly has shockingly announced he is retiring from the NFL in what was a very emotional, kind of heartfelt video we see released by the Carolina Panthers yesterday. And you watch a video like that, it's like, man, he clearly wants to play, so you know he's got his reasons as to why he is wanting to retire. So we're going to go over what could possibly be 3 reasons as to why Luke Kuechly is retiring from the NFL. Now, obviously, we ultimately will never know unless he wants to, personally go out there, do an interview, talk about it himself. But, number one on our list here is you look at the position this guy plays, and it's linebacker. You talk about if you want to go down to dangerous positions in the NFL, I mean, you can make the argument for every position, really, at the end of the day. But besides, lineman, linebacker is up at the top there because you talk about a guy that's involved in every single defensive play. You're involved in every single, being involved in every single play. You always run that risk of having that head-on-head collision. You run on risk of that car crash, tackle inside the play, as the people like to talk about it being. And you consider that's got to be a part of this. You listen to just, like I said, we don't know until he says anything, but you listen to just how emotional this guy is about saying how he wants to play, but he can't play. It's like, man, he shouldn't play. I feel like he's looking at it saying, look, I'm 29. I've had a great career. I've made plenty of money. And, maybe you pull out the Ryan Shazier card here. And it's like, look, this is a serious thing. Like any given day, something can happen here. And is it worth it to me still? As much as I love playing this sport, is the chances of injury worth it to me? A lot of people always forget, like right now, it's not a big deal. There's so many guys, once they get out of the NFL 10, 15, 20 years down the road, that are in such bad shape because of, things that have happened to them, injuries during the NFL, concussions during the NFL. And it's, something that's being brought more and more attention to now these days. And you have to wonder, something like that crossed Luke Kuechly's mind here when he considered retiring. The second reason being he is 29, and some call it the prime, some say the downside of the prime. And in his case, he did make it clear, and you can tell he's one of those guys. He's got that competitive edge. He wants to be the best. He always wants to be the best. And when he can't do that no more, when his body doesn't allow him to do that no more, it's a sign, step away. And I feel like that is another big reason he's considering here. Like, maybe I can't do what I could have done 4 years ago. My body's physically, it's taking longer to recover. Whatever it is that he's going through as a football player, or as a lot of people call it in the sports world, he's retiring while he's on top. We've seen a lot of, big name surprises over the last decade or so now in college or in football, where we've seen these guys right around 29 and 30 retire. Again, speculative, but finally, you look at the coaching staff. He made it clear, he said, I'm not retiring because of the new coaching staff, That's great. Luke Kuechly, stand-up guy, class guy, a very good individual. He's not going to go out there and bash the coaching staff or the manager. That's not him. That's not his MO. So even if that was the real reason, he's not going to go out and say it. And you consider this. Kuechly's got 2 more years under his contract in Carolina. You assume maybe he extends, maybe he doesn't. But if you're Luke Kuechly and you're thinking retirement right now, and you're thinking, 2 years, what am I going to do in 2 years on this Carolina Panthers team? He's not, like I said, he's not going to complain about losing. But let's say, new coach, new offensive coordinator, there's QB questions, and how these college to NFL coaches transitions can be. It can be an absolute nightmare, or it can go really well. But if you want to be realistic as a Carolina, I guess thinking about what they could do, 8-8 maybe? 8-8, maybe a 9-7 wild card berth that doesn't go far in the next 2 years if they're lucky. Again, we don't even know the quarterback situation. Maybe Newton comes back and plays well, helps them there, but you don't know. And when you're Luke Kuechly, the one thing, if you want to go down a list of accomplishments and accolades this guy's had over his career, one thing that might keep him around for a couple more years and says, you know what, I'll just play out my contract and then retire, or, see where I'm feeling there, is, again, that incentive to want to win a Super Bowl, the one last thing on the bucket list. But if he feels that's not going to happen in the next 2 years, it's like, why risk my body for another 2 years, take more chances, more injuries, more punishment throughout my, for the next 2 years? Why risk that if there isn't a good, winning's not the end goal for me? I've done everything else I want to do. I've got plenty of money laying around. A lot of people forget about they don't really consider, where are they now? Where are these players 15, 20 years down the road? A lot of these guys, they're thinking families, they're thinking what they're going to do past their football careers, because they still have a long life ahead of them. And in the amount of guys 10, 20 years down the road leaving the NFL with, are bent all out of shape now in their lives, it's outstanding. And you got to consider that. And it's a very tough thing to do. It's tough when you're saying you're making all this money, you're playing this good, you're a really good player, you love what you're doing. It takes, in my eyes, a lot of courage to be able to walk away at the point in the career that Luke Kuechly is in. Mad props to the guy. Like I said, an outstanding player, one of the best linebackers we've seen in the league over the past 8 years, and hats off to the guy. Hope everything goes well for him.